This is Weekend Winners, proudly brought to you by One Equine for the equine athlete, and we're back at the Creek on Saturday night. It's a feature card of racing as well. 10 in total, early start, so just keep that in mind. Our first race scheduled to start at 4:44, and we're straight into a good race there. Burkakara, this exciting 4-year-old, he struts his stuff in race 1, and then we're straight into the features. Race 2 is the QBred Breeders' Classic Colts and Geldings final. So it is QBred Breeders' Classic race night for the 2-year-olds and the 3-year-olds. 4 finals coming our way. They're Group 3 features of $50,000. The other big highlight on this program is the Ava Nova, named in honour of the former, triple Queensland Harness Horse of the Year. He's part of the Queensland Harness Hall of Fame as well. He's got the free-for-all named in his honour, first time being staged, and we've got the biggest name in the game stepping out in Leap to Fame. So he's back in action as he gears towards the Inter-Dominion, which is just only, 5 weeks away. July 5 is the first night of action. So that's all in front of us. QBred Breeders' Classic race night, Leap to Fame's back in action, and another really good mobile trot race as well. In this edition of Weekend Winners, we're going to chat with Angus, Garrard and Shane Graham. Angus Garrard jumps in the hot seat to go through his drives on Saturday night, Breeders' Classic race night, and he's with us now. Angus, appreciate the time.
No worries, Chris.
You've got some good opportunities here on the weekend. This first race, I'm interested in your thoughts here on Bangkok DJ. Now, he's first up off a long break. We haven't seen him since September. He's had 3 trials since then. You've driven him in one of those trials. What are the expectations here fresh up?
Look, probably not a whole lot, to be honest. Sort of had a few issues and a couple of setbacks, and his trials have sort of been below par for him. So he'd been pretty disappointing this time back, but it was probably a case of it was easier to get a run in a race than a trial. So Shane did say the other day that his work has picked up and he seems a lot better in himself, but obviously he's going to have to be a lot better than he's shown in the trials on Saturday night.
Okay, so given this draw inside of the second row, you're happy just to sort of follow them around at this point?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, that's Bangkok DJ. What about race 2? This is the first of our Breeders' Classic finals. This is the Colts and Geldings. It's a strong crop as well. Your horse is an interesting horse, just incredible for Mouse Brennan. He was first up into the heat. He ran third. He went really well. Did he surprise you in any way with how good he performed there?
Yes and no. Talking to Mouse sort of before the race, he was really happy with him, and he said he had quite an opinion of him just in the short time he'd had him. So I was confident he'd race good. We probably got sort of as good a trip as we could have asked for, and naturally he sort of needed that run. He'd had the travel up, and by all reports he sort of hadn't done a lot since he'd been here. So I'm sure that run and sort of that bit of time to train on in between, I'm sure he will have improved.
Okay, no doubt you would have been hoping for a good draw. It makes it tough where you're drawn out in the middle there and your key dangers are drawn to your inside. So does that make it a little bit more tricky?
Yeah, it is certainly tough, Chris. I would have liked to have sort of drawn inside a couple and sort of at least looked on paper like a spot where we could have got handy, but we're probably just going to need something to happen. We're going to need sort of something to make a mistake, or we need them to go really hard sort of to really set it up for us. But in saying that, if it happens, I think we're good enough.
Okay, well, there is a good chance that they could go really fast time here. Tell me this, though, just indulge me here. If he did draw barrier 1, how would the confidence levels be going into this final?
Oh, look, I think he'd be really hard to beat from a positive draw. Sort of the sectionals he ran last start were really good, and it was probably on a track that sort of wasn't as good as it is now. So, I was really pleased with his run, and as I said, I'm sure he'd be better. So, from a positive draw, I think he would have been right in it.
Yeah, it's a deep field though, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. It's a really strong crop sort of at this early stage, and it'll be interesting to see how they stack up all together on Saturday night.
Yeah, too right. Well, that's the boys. What about the girls? Race 3, 2-year-old fillies final here. Beach Babe Crocker. I'm surprised she's still a maiden. Do you share that line of thinking?
Yeah. She's sort of a filly that's sort of been improving with racing, I think. I drove her there sort of a first or second start, and she was okay. But her last run really impressed me. She got caught outside, did a bit of work, and a strong last half, and she probably cost herself finishing a lot closer just by sort of getting on a line a bit around the last turn. So I think in that field on Saturday night, it sort of looks on paper like she can put herself on the front end early at least, and then she should get a good trip somewhere.
Well, tell me this, given the fact that the two heat winners are both facing second row draws, you're so special inside of the second row, won't you stay with me the outside of the second row? Does that enhance your confidence levels here?
Yeah, it certainly does. You know, Won't You Stay With Me probably looks the class filly of the bunch at this stage, but you know, as you said, they're drawn off the second row, so you know we might be able to take advantage of that and sort of be positive, and hopefully we can land in a really good spot.
It'd be a nice way to break maiden ranks, winning a Group 3 $50,000 event.
Certainly would.
Okay, well that's Beach Babe Crocker. What about race 4? This is one of the other highlights of the night, the Ava Nova. Your drive is Classy Washington. He's now had the 3 runs back. Right now, as you sit here, how is he tracking along Classy Washington?
No, I think he's really good, Chris. You know, we've actually changed a little bit just sort of with his work and things the last couple of weeks. Not that he was going bad, but I just don't think he was as sharp as he should have been. So we sort of altered a few small things, and you know his training's been really good. He seems really well. He looks really well. So I think he's in a good spot now.
Okay, what do you do from gate 2?
Oh, look, hope Larry gets stuck on the fence. But, you know, we've probably got to be a little positive to sort of try and hold a handy spot. But in saying that, you know, we've got to keep a close eye on Grant as well. You know, if he decides to pop straight off, well, I'll be happy to take that spot out of his hands. So we'll just have a look when the gate leaves. And, you know, either way, we shouldn't be too far away from the action. Okay,
if you could get to the marker line, there's going to be extreme pressure in this race. They're going to run it hard, aren't they?
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. You know, I'd be surprised if they didn't. So the fence is golden at Albion Park, but you know, if we can be close to the action, that sort of tells the tale a lot as well in the end.
Okay, let me ask this one question about Classy Washington. So we're about 18 months down the track since the Inter-Dominion was last year, December 2023. Is he getting near that sort of level of form that he showed during that carnival with where he's at now?
Yeah, look, I don't really think there's too much difference in how he's going. I think he's racing sort of just as good. It's probably just the class that he's stepped up into now. You know, he's sort of racing free-for-alls week in, week out. So, you know, it'd be good if we could get a bit of confidence going into the Inter-Dominion, and, you know, he'll like the distance of those races, so that'll probably be sort of to his advantage through that series.
Okay, fair point. Race 6, this is the Trotters Mobile. This is a good quality race here. Sir Fahrenheit, he's another one. He's had a number of runs back from the campaign. Going well. He's got the trailing draw here, 2 off the second row. What are you hoping for here?
Oh, look, I think he'll race sort of better than he has been, Chris. You know, I was sort of a little disappointed in his last run. But in saying that, he's sort of a horse that when he does get caught outside him, he's probably best to roll along a little and sort of take the speed out of him a touch. But, you know, his work's been better sort of through the week, and I think we've got sort of a handy enough trailing draw there that we should get a nice run through, and hopefully things can work out and we can be right in the finish. All
right, well, last week with Love Gun, new race record there. Looks like they're going to be pouring on the pressure again in this week's race.
Yeah, you'd expect they'd be sort of stepping along pretty hard. So, you know, Love Gun was super. Gus's sectionals were just off the map as usual. So, you know, if they all do everything right, I think it'll be a really solid run race.
Okay. Race number 8, 3-year-old Colton Gelding's Group 3 feature here. Cinnabon, he was a runner-up in his heat last week. He had the right draw, barrier 1. He got that perfect trip. Was that just an ideal sort of run leading into Saturday night's final?
Yeah, it certainly was. You know, it was sort of a good blowout for him without sort of gutting him. So, you know, he'll take good improvement out of that. I'm sure he'll be spot on Saturday night.
Okay. Were you surprised with that heat last week there wasn't more sort of early pressure? Like, that first half was an absolute cruise for the winner there, French Fries. Were you surprised there wasn't just a little bit more front-end pressure?
Yeah. To be honest, I thought even without any pressure, Trent would want to step along a little bit. But, you know, it was probably just a case of making sure Trent was just making sure he qualified, and, you know, it probably worked out okay for us, given that sort of we'd missed that run a few weeks before. So, you know, it'll do us good. We'll be a lot sharper on Saturday night. It's just probably a shame we don't have the same draw.
Yeah, well, that's the key, isn't it? Where would you like to be? Where do you think you can get to from this draw on Saturday night?
Oh, look, it probably depends sort of what our Sweet Delight does to our outside, to be honest. I think probably have to keep a close eye on him and whether he's going to push forward and leave hard or sort of take hold off the gate.
Pete McMullen, Angus. You know he's not going back.
for sure. But, you know, obviously I'd like to get forward. You know, if I could be in that sort of first 4 or 5, I think we're in with a really good shot. But obviously it sort of depends on the tempo inside us as well. If they're going ridiculous, you know, they might sort of force their hand into sort of taking a hole. But in an ideal world, if I can sort of be sort of 1-1 on our Sweet Delights back, that'd be perfect.
Okay. One thing looks a given this week, that there is going to be a lot more pressure in that first half of the feature race on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be sort of stepping right along on Saturday night.
Absolutely. And race 9 on Saturday night, Prince Joy. Was he a little disappointing on Tuesday?
Yes and no. He probably didn't have the cleanest passage. It was sort of a little bit of a tricky run race and sort of it just probably didn't really work out for him. He found the line okay and I sort of didn't bustle him too hard once we sort of got squeezed up a little around the turn. So I wouldn't read too much into it. I think he'll race a lot better on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think he's going well, a lot better than what the numerical form reads. So I just thought he might have finished off probably a little better. Maybe I just got to go back and have another closer look at. The small field will suit him on the weekend.
Yeah, it certainly will, and it's the most positive draw he's had at Albion Park for a while. So hopefully we can sort of posse up a bit handier and he can be in there with a shot.
Okay, which one are you most looking forward to there on Saturday night?
Oh, it's a little tricky. I really like driving Cinnabon. I think he's a horse with a big future, and I actually think Beach Babe Crocker's a sneaky hope in the 2-year-old fillies.
Okay, Cinnabon, race 8, number 5, and Beach Babe Crocker, she goes around in race 3, number 3. Angus, as always, really appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
No worries. Thanks, Chris.
Breeders' Classic Race Night at Albion Park on Saturday night. It's a big program, 10 in total, and there's plenty of quality, including Leap to Fame, who steps out in the inaugural running of the Ava Nova. Ava Nova is a horse that our first guest knows really well. Shane Graham, he jumps in the hot seat. Shane, appreciate the time.
No problems, Chris.
Good memories with that horse, Ava Nova.
Yeah, it was. I'd like to get another one like him come through, and I'm sure Gurney would too. But yeah, he was a once in a lifetime horse for Ian, and done a terrific job with him.
Yeah, too right. He's part of the Harness Hall of Fame here in Queensland, 3-time Queensland Harness Horse of the Year. Let's get down to business. Race number 1 here on Saturday night. Your drive is Sheer Artistry. This is a mare that's in really good form. What are the confidence levels like going into this race on the weekend?
Yeah, mine are probably more than what Dad's are, but she's racing well, and from tough draws against the good mares in the state. So, yeah, it's a first time probably back in the Band 5 grade, so it's a winner to see how she lines up against them.
Okay, Burkakara is the key horse here. He's got this boom on him. He's a really good 4-year-old aiming towards the upcoming features. When you looked at the field and you saw him in it, what was the mindset?
Yeah, look, he's a quality horse, and he was. I thought he was good last week, first up from that Sydney trip, I think, where he had one run since then, and he was good, and he'll. I'm sure will improve on the run, and he's the one to beat.
Okay, with you from Gate 3, is that potentially a little sticky for her, Sheer Artistry, Gate 3?
It is if she doesn't get across to the running line or the fence.
Do you think she can?
I think so. She is quite nippy off the gate. Just hasn't been used very often.
I was going to say she must be a little underrated in that respect, but given the fact that most times she's either off the second row or wide off the front, we don't normally see her used off the arm.
Yeah, that's right. She, I'd imagine if you go back through a form, there's a lot of wide gates, and there's always been 1 or 2 inside of her. But from there to my Saturday night, drawn 3. Big field, you got to go forward. So I'd say we'll be asking her to leave the gate.
All right. Genuine top 3 chance?
Yeah, I think so. Like she's racing good, hit the line great the last 2. So, I think she's in with a shot.
Can you beat Burkakara?
Oh, look, I don't think so because he's probably, got the class. But, yeah, you never know.
Okay, well, that's race number 1. Let's go to race 3. This is the first of our features, the 2-year-old fillies Breeders' Classic Final. Our Beach Girl Maywin is your drive for your partner Kelly Dawson. She's been a good improver. Maybe this final comes around a little too soon, but she's made big inroads over the past month.
Yeah, she's always sort of shown, probably more than what she's done at the racetrack. But she's a bit quirky and has a bit of different ideas at times. But she is improving, and I think she won't disgrace herself.
Okay. I think this race has been evened out a little bit given the barrier draw. So you've got the 2 heat winners both drawing the second row. You're so special inside of the second row. Won't you stay with me outside of the second row? Hard to predict what's going to happen in these juvenile features, but where would you like to be going into the first turn with your drive, Our Beach Girl Maywin?
Oh, perfect ideal scenario would be in front and on the fence, but that's probably not going to happen. But, from there and where the barrier draws will land, we've got to, let her slide forward. She came out good last week without sort of asking too much of us, so, we're going to probably have to let her slide this week and be up handy.
Okay, do you think she'll handle that, like being used a little bit earlier?
Yeah. She's quite strong. She can do a bit of work if she has to.
Is she a genuine top 5 chance?
Oh, I think so. Like I said, she's probably hadn't shown, like her, I think what she can do, but she's getting better and improving every run.
It'll be interesting to see where she's at in 6 or, say, up to 12 months' time.
Yeah, that's right. Like she, it's all, she's still learning, probably still on the slower side of things. But, I think she'll turn out to be quite a nice filly.
Okay, race number 4. This is the Ava Nova. Turn It Up is your drive here. He's back behind the mobile. You've got to contend with Leap to Fame. What are the expectations?
Yeah, no expectations there. Well, he'll be just looking for easiest trip possible and the shortest trip home.
In saying that, though, when he's drawn the second row and he doesn't have to get involved early, he can run some really sharp sectionals late in his races, so that could easily unfold. I wouldn't be selling him short as far as a top 4 hope is concerned. No,
that's right. Like I'm sure he can run a place, and like you said, when he doesn't do any work off the gate, he always hits the line. So the 9 horses in it, and getting to the fence will be his gold.
There's going to be extreme pressure in this race.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? Like I'm sure everyone's going to be wanting to get a forward position before Larry comes around. So it should be, they'll go for it.
How has Turn It Up trained on since that last start?
Yeah, no, he seems good. He never really gives you a great feel at home, but everything he seems normal with.
Okay. Race number 5. This is the 3-year-old fillies Q-Bred Breeders' Classic. You're off the second row here with Isla Rochelle. She's been placed in all 3 runs so far this campaign, but this could be a tall order given that the dominant fillies are drawn so well. Arrive Gate 1, Cool and Classy 5. Does it make it mission impossible?
Oh, it does. Like she, if she runs top 5, I'm sure we'll be happy. Connections will be over the moon with that. So, look, if she can run top 5, I think that's definitely a pass.
If the emergency comes out, you're starting 2 off the second row. Are you aiming straight for the pegs?
Yep.
Okay. So that scenario unfolds, you can definitely run top 5 because it's going to be a blistering last half here.
Yeah, that's right. She just doesn't get around the last bend the best at the moment. We're still trying to get in that last bend. Like last week, she was never going to run any closer than third, but she would have run a closer third if she got the corner better. She's just losing a bit of ground. So if we can get that ironed out a bit better, and that she'll race well. But she's top 5 will be a very good good finish.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me this. Being only a mile this feature on Saturday night, is Arrive the horse to beat or still Cool and Classy, the Oaks winner from Sydney?
Yeah, look, I think especially the way the draw is and Arrive, I think she's a quality filly, and if anyone is going to beat Cool and Classy, I think Arrive's the one to do it. Okay.
What about race 7? Mossdale Terry, he's back behind the tapes here, and he's got the inside draw. Do you rate his chances here?
Well, it's 3rd time lucky, Chris, so hopefully he gets away. He's hadn't got away very good his first 2 shots at it, but we're hoping 3rd time lucky, and if he gets away, he can be competitive in it.
Tell me this then, is it the horse or the driver that's struggling at the start?
I'll say me.
But It's a little bit of a surprise that he's not stepping away because he looks like he's such a relaxed horse.
Yeah, he is. He's he's very casual, and he did have a bit of form in New Zealand in the stands, but yeah, he's only we gave him one trial and he got away good, but Cal drove him that night. So if we don't step this week, we might have to make a change there.
Okay, tell me this. Looking back at that replay of his most recent start, when you got out and you loomed at the turn, did you think you were just going to rush on by and put them away?
I did, and then, it's Mostar, so he sort of doesn't do that too often. But on the clock, he was good, and, he probably just peaked the last 50.
Okay. It's an interesting race this week. Captain Hammerhead's in there, Black Sedance's in there, so it's not easy.
No, it's a good quality field, and, just them being off the 20 makes it that little bit harder, but they're definitely the class runners.
Okay, what about race 8, 3-year-old Colts and Geldings final? Repeating, we're only at a mile and you've got the outside of the second row. I know your dad's captain negative, but the Talk Majority, that is going to take a monumental effort to win from that draw.
Yeah, look, that makes things hard. We're going to need a lot of luck, and we need the race to be run upside down, really. But, yeah, he'll be hitting the line, but, it's probably going to be hard for him to win it.
Yeah, French Fries looked really sharp last week, and he's got the inside gate. And again, like that Phillies race, they're going to run a real quick last half.
Yeah, that's right. You sort of looks like it's going to be a fence race. They go slow, you need to be on the fence. They go fast, you need to be on the fence. So, the way the barriers have fallen, like we said, we need it run upside down.
Okay, just going back to the heat last week, second behind Our Sweet Delight. You loomed at the turn. Were you surprised he put that big a gap on you late, Our Sweet Delight?
Yeah, like I was sort of still travelling good at the quarter, and my bloke, he just wobbled around the last bend and lost interest a little bit, and the leader kicked away. So yeah, but he obviously appreciated being in the front end hadn't been there for a while.
Okay, what about race 9, Mighty Jolt? You're the only runner here off the second row. Can he be a threat here?
Yeah, look, he's racing well. It's the right draw. Distance suits, so yeah, he's got his chance, but it'll probably be pretty hard to run the one horse down.
Okay, do you think he'll lead the one horse?
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, there's a bit of speed to his outside. It'll be interesting, and that will dictate the race in many ways. If he can lead, brings you right into it, but if he gets crossed, that might leave you in a spot of bother.
Yeah, that's right. But we just got to sit there and pray for a bit of luck.
Okay, and what about the last race, race 10, Fear the Banker? He's got ability, and he's going to win sooner rather than later. Not sure this is the race on Saturday night, but he's got ability. He's going well. Yeah,
that's right. He does. He's got a few tricks in that, but he couldn't have went any better last start. So we'll just do the same and drive him that way, and he'll hit the line.
Is there any other way to drive him?
Yeah, look, he can. He gets a bit keen and can take charge, but I think for his racing future, we've got to probably just be settling him and sitting him in and just leaving him for one run at him.
Okay, in time to come, he'll run a good time if he finds the pegs.
Yeah, that's right. He trialled super there behind Speak the Truth and that not long ago on the front end, so he can do it, but we just got to get his head right.
Okay, what's your best chance? Is it in the first with sheer artistry?
Yeah, I think so. Looking back, I reckon that's probably my best hope.
All right, race 1, number 3, sheer artistry. Shane, as always, appreciate the time, and we'll see you trackside.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
A big thanks to both Angus and Shane giving up their time and thoughts ahead of their drives there on Saturday night. Hopefully there's a winner or two to be found for both guys. Now, if you're looking for a good thing on Saturday night, I think you've got to be super patient. The last race. This horse has been bursting to win a race, and he finally gets the right race and, most importantly, the right draw. Race 10, number 1, Teddy Turpin. I think he's ready to strike, and this is his race to lose on the weekend. So you've got to be patient. The last race, race 10, number 1, Teddy Turpin, marking him as the best bet on the program. If you are gambling this weekend, please do so responsibly. It's a great night of racing at Albion Park, really starting to set the scene now for the Constellations. We had the finale of Trot Rods during the week. We've got this big race night on Saturday night. Before long, it's all going to be about the Inter Dominion for both the Pacers and the Trotters. We'll see you trackside, our first race at 4:44.